This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Ulysses by Joyce, Part 2, The Odyssey, Episode 11, Sirens. Bronze by gold, heard the hoof irons, steely ringing, impertinent, and chips, picking chips off rocky thumbnail chips. Horrid and gold-flushed more. A husky fife note blue bloom is on the gold pinnacled hair. A jumping rose on satiny breast of satin rose of Castile. Trilling, ay Dolores. Peep, who's in the peep of gold? Tink cried to bronze in pity. And the call, pure, long and throbbing, long in dying call. Decoy, soft word, but look, the bright stars fade, note, chirping answer. Oh, Rose, Castile, the morn is breaking. Jingle, jingle, jaunted, jingling. Coin rang, clock clacked. A vowel, sonnet, I would, rebound of garter, not leave thee. Smack, la cloche, thy smack, a vowel, warm, sweetheart, goodbye. Jingle, blue, boomed, crashing chords. When love absorbs, war, the tympanum. A sail, a veil, a wave upon the waves. Lost, throttle fluted, all is lost now. Horn, a horn. When first he saw, alas, full tup, full throb, warbling, lure, alluring. Martha, come. Clap, clap, clip, clap, clappy clap. Good God, he never heard the no. Deaf, bald Pat brought pad knife took up. A moonlit night call, far, far. I feel so sad. P.S. So lonely, blooming. Listen. The spiked and winding cold sea horn. Have ye the each and for other plash and silent roar? Pearls when she list rhapsodies hiss. You don't? Did not? No, believe. Lid, with a cock and a cara. Black, deep sounding. Do, Ben, do. Wait while you wait. He, wait while you, but wait. Low in dark middle earth, embedded ore. Na mine, preacher is he. All gone, all fallen. Tiny, her tremulous fern foils of maiden hair. And then he gnashed in fury. Fro, to, fro, a baton cool, protruding. Bronze Lydia by Mina Gold. By bronze, by gold, in ocean green of shadow, bloom, old bloom. One wrapped, one tapped, with a cara, with a cock. Pray for him, pray, good people. His gouty fingers knackering. Big Ben, big Ben. Last rose, Castile of summer left bloom. I feel so sad alone. Wee, little wind pipe, wee. True men, lid care cow, de and doll, I, like you men, will lift your chink with a chunk. Whew. Where bronze from an ear? Where gold from afar? Where hoofs? Grandel. Then, not till then, my epitaph be done. Begin. Bronze by gold, Miss Douce's head by Miss Kennedy's head, over the cross-blind of the Ormond bar, heard the vice-regal hoofs go by, ringing steel. Is that her? Asked Miss Kennedy. Miss Douce said yes, sitting with his ex. Pearl grey and eau de Nil. Exquisite contrast, Miss Kennedy said. When all agog, Miss Douce said eagerly, Look at the fellow in the tall silk. Who? Where? Gold asked more eagerly. In the second carriage, Miss Douce's wet lips said, laughing in the sun. He's looking. Mind till I see. She darted, bronze, to the backmost corner, flattening her face against the pane in a halo of hurried breath. Her wet lips tittered. He's killed looking back. She laughed. Oh, wept. Aren't men frightful idiots? With sadness. Miss Kennedy sauntered sadly from bright light, twining a loose hair behind an ear. Sauntering sadly, gold no more, she twisted, twined a hair. Sadly she twined in sauntering gold hair behind a curving ear. It's them has the fine times, sadly then she said. A man. Bluehu went by Moulang's pipes, bearing in his breast the sweets of sin, by wine's antiques, in memory bearing sweet sinful words, by Carol's dusky battered plate, for Raoul. The boots to them in the bar, them barmaids came. For them unheeding him, he banged on the counter his tray of chattering china, and there's your teas, he said. Miss Kennedy, with manners, transposed the tea tray down to an upturned lithia crate, safe from eyes, low. What is it? Loud Boots unmannerly asked. Find out, Miss Douce retorted, leaving her spine point. Your beau, is it? A haughty Bronze replied, I'll complain to Mrs. de Massey on you if I hear any more of your impertinent insolence. Impertinent. Boots Snout sniffed rudely, as he retreated, as she threatened, as he had come. Bloom. On her flower frowning, Miss Douce said, Most aggravating that young brat is, if he doesn't conduct himself I'll ring his ear for him a yard long. Ladylike, in exquisite contrast. Take no notice, Miss Kennedy rejoined. She poured in a teacup tea, then back in the teapot tea. They cowered under their reef of counter, waiting on footstools, crates upturned, waiting for their teas to draw. They pawed their blouses, both of black satin, 2 and 9 a yard, waiting for their teas to draw, and 2 and 7. Yes, bronze from a near, by gold from afar, heard steel from a near, hoofs ring from afar, and heard steel hoofs ring hoof ring steel. Am I awfully sunburnt? Miss Bronze unbloused her neck. No, said Miss Kennedy, it gets brown after. Did you try the borax with the cherry laurel water? Miss Douce half stood to see her skin askance in the bar mirror. Gild-lettered where hock and claret glasses shimmered, and in their midst a shell. And leave it to my hands, she said. Try it with the glycerine, Miss Kennedy advised. Bidding her neck and hands adieu, Miss Douce, those things only bring out a rash, replied, reseated. I asked that old fogey in Boyd's for something for my skin. Miss Kennedy, pouring now a full-drawn tea, grimaced and prayed. Oh, don't remind me of him, for mercy's sake. But wait till I tell you, Miss Douce entreated. Sweet tea, Miss Kennedy, having poured with milk, plugged both ears with little fingers. No, don't, she cried. I won't listen, she cried. But Bloom? Miss Douce grunted in a snuffy fogey's tone. "For your what?" says he. Miss Kennedy unplugged her ears to hear, to speak, but prayed again. "Don't let me think of him or I'll expire, the hideous old wretch. That night in the ante and concert rooms." She sipped distastefully her brew. Hot tea. A sip, sipped, sweet tea. Here he was, Miss Douce said, cocking her bronze head 3/4, ruffling her nose wings. "Huffa! Huffa!" Shrill shriek of laughter sprang from Miss Kennedy's throat. Miss Douce huffed and snorted down her nostrils that quivered impertinent like a snout in quest. "Oh," shrieking, Miss Kennedy cried, "will you ever forget his goggle eye?" Miss Douce chimed in deep bronze laughter, shouting, "And your other eye?" Boohoo's dark eye read Aaron Figatner's name. Why do I always think Figather? Gathering figs, I think. And Prosper Lower's Huguenot name. By Bassie's Blessed Virgins, Bloom's dark eyes went by. Blue-robed, white under, come to me. God, they believe she is. Or goddess. Those today, I could not see. That fellow spoke, a student. Afterward Dedalus' son. He might be Mulligan. All comely virgins. That's what brings those rakes of fellow in her white. By went his eyes. The sweets of sin. Sweet are the sweets of sin. In a giggling peal, young gold bronze voices blended. Douce with Kennedy, your other eye. They threw young heads back, bronze giggle gold, to let free fly their laughter, screaming, your other, signals to each other, high piercing notes. Ah, panting, sighing, ah, fordone, their mirth died down. Miss Kennedy lipped her cup again, raised, drank a sip, and giggled. Miss Douce, bending over the tea tray, ruffled again her nose, and rolled droll fattened eyes. Again Kenny giggles, stooping, her fair pinnacles of hair, stooping, her tortoise nape-cum showed, spluttered out of her mouth her tea, choking in tea and laughter, coughing with choking, crying, "Oh, greasy eyes! Imagine being married to a man like that," she cried, "with his bitter beard." Douce gave full vent to a splendid yell, a full yell of full woman, delight, joy, indignation. "Married to the greasy nose," she yelled. Shrill, with deep laughter, after they urged each to peal after peal, ringing in changes, bronze gold, gold bronze, shrill deep, to laughter after laughter, and then laughed more. Greasy I knows. Exhausted, breathless, their shaken heads they laid, braided and pinnacled by glossy combed, against the counter ledge, all flushed, oh, panting, sweating, oh, all breathless. Married to Bloom, to Greaser Bloom. "Oh, saints above," Miss Douce said, sighed above her jumping rose. "I wish I hadn't laughed so much. I feel all wet." "Oh, Miss Douce," Miss Kennedy protested, "you horrid thing," and flushed yet more. "You horrid," more goldenly. By Cantwell's offices roved Greaser Bloom, by Keppy's virgins, bright of their oils. Nanetti's father hawked those things about, wheedling at doors as I. Religion pays. Must see him for that bar. Eat first. I want. Not yet. At 4, she said. Time ever passing. Clock hands turning. On. Where eat? Clarence? Dolphin? On. For Raoul. Eat. If I net 5 guineas with those ads. The violet silk petticoats. Not yet. The sweets of sin. Flushed less, still less, goldenly paled. Into their bar strolled Mr. Dedalus. Chips, picking chips off one of his rocky thumbnails. Chips. He strolled. Oh, welcome back, Miss Deuce. He held her hand. Enjoyed her holidays? Tip-top. He hoped she had nice weather in Rostrevor. Gorgeous, she said. Look at the holy show I am, lying out in the Strand all day. Bronze whiteness. That was exceedingly naughty of you, Mr. Dedalus told her, and pressed her hand indulgently, tempting poor simple males. Miss Deuce of Satin deuced her arm away. Oh, go away, she said. You're very simple, I don't think. He was. Well, now I am, he mused. I looked so simple in the cradle, they christened me Simple Simon. It must have been a doty, Miss Deuce made answer. And what did the doctor order today? Well, now, he mused, whatever you say yourself. I think I'll trouble you for some fresh water and a half a glass of whiskey. Jingle. With the greatest alacrity, Miss Deuce agreed. With grace of alacrity, towards the mirror, gilt Cantrell and Cochrane's, she turned herself. With grace, she tapped a measure of gold whiskey from her crystal keg. Forth from the skirt of his coat, Mr. Dedalus brought pouch and pipe. Alacrity she served. He blew through the flue 2 husky fife notes. By Jove, he mused, I often wanted to see the Mourne Mountains. Must be a great tonic in the air down there. But a long threatening comes at last, they say. Yes. He fingered shreds of hair, her maidenhair, her mermaids, into the bowl. Chips, shreds, musing, mute. None, naught, said nothing. Yes. Gaily Miss Deuce polished a tumbler, trilling, O I, Dolores, Queen of the Eastern Seas. Was Mr. Lidwell in today? In came Lenehan. Round him peered Lenehan. Mr. Bloom reached Essex Bridge. Yes, Mr. Bloom crossed Bridge of Essex. To Martha I must write. Buy paper, dailies. Girl there, Sybil. Bloom, old Bloom. Blue Bloom is on the rye. He was in at lunchtime, Miss Deuce said. Lenehan came forward. Was Mr. Boylan looking for me? He asked. She answered. Miss Kennedy, was Mr. Boylan in while I was upstairs? She asked. Miss Voice of Kennedy answered, a second teacup poised, her gaze upon a page. No, he was not. Miss Gaze of Kennedy, heard not seen, read on. Lenehan round the sandwich bell wound his round body round. Peep, who's in the corner? No glance of Kennedy rewarding him, he yet made overtures to mind her stops, to read only the black ones, round O and crooked S. Jingle, jaunty, jingle. Girl Gold, she read, and did not glance. Take no notice. She took no notice while he read by rote a sofa table for her, clappering flatly. A fox met a stork. Said the fox to the stork, Will you put your bill down in my throat and pull up a bone? He droned in vain. Miss Deuce turned to her tea aside. He sighed aside. Ah me, oh my. He greeted Mr. Dedalus and got a nod. Greetings from the famous son of a famous father. Who may he be? Mr. Dedalus asked. Lenehan opened most genial arms. Who may he be? He asked. Can you ask Stephen the youthful bard? Dry. Mr. Dedalus, famous father, laid by his dry-filled pipe. I see, he said. I didn't recognize him for the moment. I hear he is keeping very select company. Have you seen him lately? He had. I quaffed the nectar bowl with him this very day, said Lenehan. In Mooney's en vie and in Mooney's sur mer. He had received the rhino for the labour of his muse. He smiled at Bronze's tea-bathed lips, at listening lips and eyes. The elite of Erin hung upon his lips, the ponderous pundit Hugh McHugh, Dublin's most brilliant scribe and editor, and that minstrel boy of the wild, wet west who is known by the euphonious appellation of the O'Madden Burke. After an interval, Mr. Dedalus raised his grog and, "That must have been highly diverting," said he. "I see." He drank, with far-away morning mountain eye, set down his glass. He looked towards the saloon door. "I see you have moved the piano." "The tuner was in today," Miss Douce replied, "tuning it for the smoking concert, and I never heard such an exquisite player." "Is that a fact? Didn't he, Miss Kennedy? The real classical, you know. And blind too, poor fellow. Not 20, I'm sure he was." "Is that a fact?" Mr. Dedalus said. He drank and strayed away. "So sad to look at his face," Miss Douce condoled. "God's curse on bitch's bastard." Tink, to her pity, cried a diner's bell. To the door of the bar and dining room came bald Pat, came bothered Pat, came Pat, waiter of Ormond. Lager for diner. Lager, without alacrity she served. With patience, Lenehan waited for Boylan with impatience, for Jingle Jaunty Blaze's boy. Holding the lid, he who gazed in the coffin, at the oblique triple piano wires. He pressed, the same who pressed indulgently her hand, soft pedalling, a triple of keys, to see the thickness of felt advancing, to hear the muffled hammer fall in action. 2 sheets, cream vellum paper, 1 reserve, 2 envelopes. When I was in Wisdom Healy's, Wise Bloom in Daly's, Henry Flower bought. Are you not happy in your home? Flower to console me, and a pin cut slow. Means something, language of flow. Was it a daisy? Innocence, that is. Respectable girl, meets after mass. Thanks awfully muchly. Wise Bloom eyed on the door a poster. A swaying mermaid, smoking mid nice waves. Smoke mermaids, coolest whiff of all. Hair streaming, lovelorn, for some man, for Raoul. He eyed, and saw afar on Essex Bridge a gay hat riding on a jaunting car. It is, again, 3rd time. Coincidence? Jingling on supple rubbers, it jaunted from the bridge to Ormond Quay. Follow, risk it, go quick. At 4, near now, out. 2pence, sir, the shop girl dared to say. Ah, I was forgetting, excuse. And 4. At 4, she. Winsomely she and Blue him whom smiled. Blue smile quick go. Turnu. Think you're the only pebble on the beach? Does that to all. For men. In drowsy silence, gold bent on her page. From the saloon a call came, long in dying. That was a tuning fork the tuner had, that he forgot, that he now struck. A call again, that he now poised, that it now throbbed. You hear? It throbbed, pure, pure, softly and softlier, its buzzing prongs, longer in dying call. Pat paid for diner's pop-corked bottle, and over tumbler, tray, and pop-corked bottle, ere he went he whispered, bald and bothered with Miss Douce. The bright stars fade. A voiceless song sang from within, singing, The morn is breaking. A duodene of bird notes chirruped bright treble answer on their sensitive hands. Brightly the keys all twinkling, linked, called to a voice to sing the strain of dewy morn, of youth, of love's leave-taking, life's, love's morn. The dewdrops purr. Lenehan's lips over the counter lisped a low whistle of decoy. But look this way, he said, Rose of Castile. Jingle jaunted by the curb and stopped. She rose and closed her reading. Rose of Castile, fretted, forlorn, dreamily rose. Did she fall, or was she pushed? He asked her. She answered, slighting, Ask no questions and you'll hear no lies. Like lady, ladylike. Blazes Boylan's smart tan shoes creaked on the bar floor where he strode. Yes, gold from near by bronze from afar. Lenihan heard and knew and hailed him. See, the conquering hero comes. Between the car and window, warily walking, went Bloom, unconquered hero. See me he might. The seat he sat on, warm. Black, wary, he cat-walked towards Richie Golding's legal bag, lifted aloft, saluting. And I from thee. I heard you were around, said Blazes Boylan. He touched to fair Miss Kennedy a rim of his slanted straw. She smiled on him. But Sister Bronze outsmiled her, preening for him her richer hair, a bosom and a rose. Smart Boylan bespoke potions. What's your cry? Glass of bitter? Glass of bitter, please, and a sloe gin for me. Wiring yet? Not yet. At 4, she. Who said 4? Cowley's red lugs and bulging apple in the door of the sheriff's office. Avoid. Golding a chance. What is he doing in the Ormond? Car waiting. Wait. Hello, where off to? Something to eat? I too was just in here. What? Ormond? Best value in Dublin. Is that so? Dining room? Sit tight there. See, not be seen. I think I'll join you. Come on. Richie led on. Bloom followed bag. Dinner fit for a prince. Miss Douce reached high to take a flagon, stretching her satin arm, her bust that all but burst so high. Oh, jerked Lenihan, gasping at each stretch. Oh! But easily she seized her prey and led it low in triumph. Why don't you grow? Asked Blazes Boylan. She bronzed, dealing from her oblique jar thick syrupy liquor for his lips, looked as it flowed. Flower in his coat, who gave him? And syruped with her voice. Fine goods in small parcels. That is to say, she. Neatly she poured, slow, syrupy, slow. Here's fortune, Blazes said. He pitched a broad coin down. Coin rang. Hold on, said Lenihan, till I. Fortune, he wished, lifting his bubbled ale. Sceptre will win in a canter, he said. I plunged a bit, said Boylan, winking and drinking. Not on my own, you know. Fancy of a friend of mine. Lenihan still drank, and grinned at his tilted ale, and at Miss Douce's lips that all but hummed, not shut, the ocean song her lips had trilled. Idolors, the eastern seas. Cluck, whirred. Miss Kennedy passed their way. Flower, wonder who gave, bearing away tea-tray. Cluck, clacked. Miss Douce took Boylan's coin, struck boldly the cash register. It clanged. Cluck, clacked. Fair one of Egypt teased and sorted in the till and hummed and handed coins and change. Looked to the west. A clack for me. What time is that? Asked Blazes Boylan. 4 o'clock. Lenihan, small eyes a hunger on her humming, bust a humming, tugged Blazes Boylan's elbow sleeve. Let's hear the time, he said. The bag of Golding Collis Ward led Bloom by rye bloom flowered tables. Aimless he chose with agitated aim, bald Pat attending, a table near the door. Be near. At 4. Has he forgotten? Perhaps a trick. Not come, whet appetite. I couldn't do. Wait. Pat, waiter, waited. Sparkling bronze azure, eyed blazers, sky blue bow and eyes. Go on, pressed Lenihan. There's no one. He never heard. To Flora's lips knit high. A high note pealed in the treble clear. Bronze Douce, communing with her rose that sank and rose, sought Blazes Boylan's flower and eyes. Please. He pleaded over returning phrases of avowal. I could not leave thee. Afterwards, Miss Douce promised coyly. No, now, urged Lenehan. Sonny la cloche. Oh, do, there's no one. She looked. Quick, Miss Ken out of earshot. Sudden bent, two kindling faces watched her bend. Quavering, the chords strayed from the air, found it again, lost chord, and glossed and found it, faltering. Go on, do, Sonny. Bending, she nipped a peak of skirt above her knee. Delayed, taunted them still, bending, suspending, with wilful eyes. Sonny. Smack. She set free, sudden in rebound, her nipped elastic garter, smack warm against her smackable, a woman's warm-hosed thigh. La cloche, cried gleeful Lenehan. Trained by owner, no sawdust there. She smiled, smirked, supercilious, wept, aren't men, but, lightward gliding, mild she smiled on Boylan. You're the essence of vulgarity, she in gliding said. Boylan eyed, tossed to fat lips his chalice, drank off his chalice tiny, sucking the last fat, violet, syrupy drops. His spellbound eyes went after her gliding head as it went down the bar by mirrors, gilded arch for ginger ale, hock and claret glasses shimmering, a spiky shell where it concerted, mirrored, bronze with sunnier bronze. Yes, bronze from a nearby. Sweetheart, goodbye. I'm off, said Boylan with impatience. He slid his chalice brisk away, grasped his change. Wait a shake, begged Lenehan, drinking quickly. I wanted to tell you. Tom Rochford. Come on to Blazes, said Blazes Boylan, going. Lenehan gulped to go. Got the horn or what? He said. Wait, I'm coming. He followed the hasty creaking shoes, but stood by nimbly by the threshold, saluting forms, a bulky with a slender. How do you do, Mr. Dollard? Hey, how do? Ben Dollard's vague bass answered, turning an instant from Father Cowley's woe. He won't give you any trouble, Bob. Alf Bergen will speak to the long fellow. We'll put a barley straw in that Judas Iscariot's ear this time. Sighing, Mr. Dedalus came through the saloon, a finger soothing an eyelid. Ho, ho, we will, Ben Dollard yodeled jollily. Come on, Simon, give us a ditty. We heard the piano. Bald Pat, bothered waiter, waited for drink orders. Power for Richie. And Bloom? Let me see. Not make him walk twice. His corns. 4 now. How warm this black is. Course nerves a bit. Refracts, is it? Heat? Let me see. Cider. Yes, bottle of cider. What's that? Mr. Dedalus said. I was only vamping, man. Come on, Ben Dollard called. Begone, dull care. Come, Bob. He ambled, Dollard, bulky slops before them. Hold that fellow with the... Hold him now. Into the saloon. He plumped him, Dollard, on the stool. His gouty paws plumped chords. Plumped, stopped, abrupt. Bald Pat in the doorway met tealess gold returning. Bothered, he wanted power and cider. Bronze by the window watched, bronze from afar. Jingle a tinkle jaunted. Bloom heard a jing, a little sound. He's off. Light sob, breath, Bloom sighed on the silent, blue-hued flowers. Jingling. He's gone. Jingle. Here. Love and war, Ben, Mr. Dedalus said. God be with old times.
Miss Doucey's brave eyes, unregarded, turned from the cross-blind, smitten by sunlight. Gone. Pensive? Who knows? Smitten. the smiting light. She lowered the drop blind with a sliding cord. She drew down pensive. Why did he go so quick when I... About her bronze, over the bar where bald stood by Sister Gold. Inexquisite contrast, contrast inexquisite, non-exquisite. Slow, cool, dim, sea green, sliding depth of shadow. Ode nil. Poor old Goodwin was the pianist that night, Father Cowley reminded them. There was a slight difference of opinion between himself and the Collard Grand. There was. A symposium all his own, Mr. Dedalus said. The devil wouldn't stop him. He was a crotchety old fellow in the primary stage of drink. God, do you remember? Ben Bulky Dollard said, turning from the punished keyboard. And by japers, I had no wedding garment. They all laughed. They laughed, all three. He had no wed. All trio laughed. No wedding garment. Our friend Bloom turned in handy that night, Mr. Dedalus said. Where's my pipe, by the way? He wandered back to the bar to the lost cord pipe. Bald Pat carried 2 diners' drinks, Richie and Poldy, and Father Cowley laughed again. I saved the situation, Ben, I think. You did, averred Ben Dollard. I remember those tight trousers, too. That was a brilliant idea, Bob. Father Cowley blushed to his brilliant purply lobes. He saved the situation, tight trow, brilliant-eyed. I knew he was on the rocks, he said. The wife was playing the piano in the Coffee Palace on Saturdays for a very trifling consideration. And who was it gave me the wheeze she was doing the other business? Do you remember? We had to search all Hollis Street to find them till the chap in Kiosk gave us the number. Remember? Ben remembered, his broad visage wondering. By God, she had some luxurious opera cloaks and things there. Mr. Dedalus wandered back, pipe in hand. Marion Square style. Ball dresses, by God, and court dresses. He wouldn't take any money either. What? Any God's quantity of cocked hats and boleros and trunk hose. What? Aye, Mr. Dedalus nodded. Mrs. Marion Bloom has left off clothes of all descriptions. Jingle jaunted down the quays. Blazes sprawled on bounding tires. Liver and bacon, steak and kidney pie. Right, sir, right, Pat. Mrs. Marion met him pike hoses. Smell of burn, of Paul de Kock. Nice name, he. What's this her name was? A buxom lassie. Marion Tweedy. Yes. Is she alive? And kicking. She was a daughter of the regiment. Yes, begad, I remember the old drum major. Mr. Dedalus struck, whizzed, lit, puffed, savory puff after. Irish? I don't know. Faith. Is she, Simon? Puff after stiff, a puff, strong, savory, crackling. Buccinator muscle is. What? Bit rusty. Oh, she is. My Irish Molly, oh. He puffed a pungent, plumy blast. From the Rock of Gibraltar, all the way. They pined in depth of ocean shadow, gold by the beer pool, bronze by maraschino, thoughtful, all two. Mina Kennedy, 4 Lismore Terrace, Drumcondra with I Dolores, a queen, Dolores, silent. Pat served, uncovered dishes, Leopold cut liver slices, as said before he ate with relish the inner organs, nutty gizzards, fried cod's roes, while Richie Goulding, Collis Ward, ate steak and kidney, steak then kidney, bite by bite of pie. He ate, Bloom ate, they ate. Bloom with Goulding, married in silence, ate, dinners fit for princes. By Bachelor's Walk, jog jaunty jingled blazes boilin', bachelor, in sun and heat, mare's glossy rump a trot, with flick of whip on bounding tires, sprawled, warm-seated, boilin' impatience, ardent bold. Horn, have you the horn? Have you the ha horn? Over their voices, dollared bassooned attack, booming over bombarding chords. When love absorbs my ardent soul, roll of Ben Soul Benjamin, roll to the quivery, love-shivery roof panes. War, war, cried Father Cowley, you're the warrior. So I am, Ben Warrior laughed. I was thinking of your landlord. Love or money? He stopped. He wagged huge beard, huge face over his blunder huge. Sure, you'd burst the tympanum of her ear, man, Mr. Dedalus said through smoke aroma, with an organ like yours. In bearded, abundant laughter, Dollard shook upon the keyboard. He would. Not to mention another membrane, Father Cowley added. Half-time, Ben. Amoroso ma non troppo. Let me there. Miss Kennedy served two gentlemen with tankards of cool stout. She passed a remark. It was indeed, first gentleman said, beautiful weather. They drank cool stout. Did she know where the Lord Lieutenant was going? And heard steel hoofs ring hoof ring? No, she couldn't say, but it would be in the paper. Oh, she need not trouble. No trouble. She waved about her outspread, independent, searching. The Lord Lieutenant, her pinnacles of hair slow-moving. Lord Lieutenant. Too much trouble, first gentleman said. Oh, not in the least. Way he looked that, Lord Lieutenant. Gold by bronze, heard iron steel. My ardent soul, I care not for the morrow. In liver gravy Bloom mashed potatoes. Love and war someone is. Ben Dollard's famous. Night he ran round to us to borrow a dress suit for that concert. Trousers tight as a drum on him. Musical porkers. Molly did laugh when he went out. Threw herself back across the bed, screaming, kicking, with all his belongings on show. Oh, saints above, I'm drenched. Oh, the women in the front row. Oh, I never laughed so many. Well, of course, that's what gives him the bass barrel tone. For instance, eunuchs? Wonder who's playing. Nice touch. Must be Cowley. Musical. Knows whatever note you play. Bad breath he has. Poor chap. Stopped. Miss Dowse, engaging, Lydia Dowse, bowed to suave solicitor George Lidwell, gentleman, entering. Good afternoon. She gave her moist, a lady's hand to his firm clasp. Afternoon. Yes, she was back. To the old ding-dong again. Your friends are inside, Mr. Lidwell. George Lidwell, suave solicited, held a Lydia hand. Bloomate live, as said before. Clean here, at least. That chap in the Burton, gummy with gristle. No one here. Goulding and I. Clean tables, flowers, mitres of napkins. Pat to and fro. Bald Pat. Nothing to do. Best value in dub. Piano again. Cowley it is. Way he sits into it, like one together, mutual understanding. Tiresome shapers, scraping fiddles, eye on the bow end, sawing the cello, remind you of toothache. Her high, long snore. Night we were in the box, trombone under blowing like a grampus, between the acts. Other brass chap unscrewing, emptying spittle. Conductor's legs too. bags, trousers, jiggity, jiggity, do right to hide them. Jiggity, jingle, jaunty, jaunty, only the harp, lovely, gold glowering light. Girl touched it, poop of a lovely. Gravy's rather good fit for a golden ship. Erin, the harp that once or twice, cool hands, Ben Houth, the rhododendrons, we are their harps, I, he, old, young. Ah, I couldn't, man, Mr. Dedalus said, shy, listless. Strongly. Go on, blast you, Ben Dollard growled. Get it out in bits. Ma Paris, Simon, Father Cowley said. Down stage he strode, some paces, grave, tall in affliction, his long arms outheld. Hoarsely the apple of his throat hoarsed softly. Softly he sang to a dusty seascape there, a last farewell. A headland, a ship, a sail upon the billows. Farewell, a lovely girl, her veil a wave upon the headland, wind around her. Cowley sang, Ma Paris tout amour, il mio sguardo il incontre. She waved, unhearing Cowley, her veil, to one departing, dear one, to wind, love, speeding sail, return. Go on, Simon. Ah, sure, my dancing days are done, Ben. Well, Mr. Dedalus laid his pipe to rest beside the tuning fork and, sitting, touched the obedient keys. No, Simon, Father Cowley turned. Play it in the original, one flat. The keys, obedient, rose higher, told, faltered, confessed, confused. Up stage strode Father Cowley. Here, Simon, I'll accompany you, he said. Get up. By Graham Lemon's Pineapple Rock, by Elvery's Elephant jingly jogged, steak, kidney, liver, mashed. At meat fit for princes sat Princes Bloom and Goulding. Princes at meat they raised and drank, power and cider. Most beautiful tenor air ever written, Ritchie said, Somnambula. He heard Joe Moss sing that one night. Ah, what McGuckin! Yes, in his way, choir boy style, Moss was the boy, mass boy, a lyrical tenor if you like. Never forget it, never. Tenderly Bloom over liverless bacon saw the tightened features strain. Backache he, Bright's bright eye. Next item on the program, paying the piper. Pills, pounded bread, worth a guinea a box. Stave it off a while. Sings, too, down among the dead men. Appropriate. Kidney pie, sweets to the... Not making much hand of it. Best value in. Characteristic of him. Power, particular about his drink. Flaw in the glass. Fresh Bartree water. Fecking matches from counters to save. Then squander a sovereign in dribs and drabs. And when he's wanted, not a farthing. Screwed refusing to pay his fare. Curious types. Never would Ritchie forget that night. As long as he lived, never. In the gods of the old royal with little peak, and when the first note... Speech paused on Ritchie's lips. Coming out with a whopper now. Rhapsodies about damn all. Believes his own lies. Does, really. Wonderful liar. But want a good memory. Which air is that? Asked Leopold Bloom. All is lost now. Ritchie cocked his lips a pout. A low, incipient note, sweet banshee murmured. All. A thrush, a throstle, his breath bird-sweet, good teeth he's proud of, fluted with plaintive woe, is lost, rich sound, 2 notes in one there. Blackbird I heard in the hawthorn valley, taking my motives he twined and turned them. Almost 2 new call is lost in all. Echo, how sweet the answer! How is that done? All lost now. Mournful he whistled, fall, surrender, lost. Bloom bent Leopold ear, turning a fringe of doily down under the vase. Order. Yes, I remember. Lovely air. In sleep she went to him. Innocence in the moon. Brave. Don't know their danger. Still hold her back. Call name. Touch water. Jingle jaunty. Too late. She longed to go. That's why. Woman. As easy stop the sea. Yes. All is lost. A beautiful air, said Bloom, lost Leopold. I know it well. Never in all his life had Richie Goulding. He knows it well, too, or he feels, still harping on his daughter. Wise child that knows her father, Daedalus said. Me? Bloom askance over Liverless saw. Face of the all is lost. Rollicking Richie once, jokes old, stale now, wagging his ear, napkin ring in his eye, now begging letters he sends his son with. Cross-eyed Walter, sir, I did, sir. Wouldn't trouble, only I was expecting some money. Apologize. Piano again. Sounds better than last time I heard. Tuned, probably. Stopped again. Dollard and Cowley still urged the lingering singer out with it. With it, Simon. It, Simon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am most deeply obliged by your kind solicitations. It, Simon. I have no money, but if you will lend me your attention, I shall endeavor to sing to you of a heart bowed down. By the sandwich bell in screening shadow Lydia, her bronze and rose, a lady's grace, gave and withheld, as in cool Glaucus ode nil Mina to tankards too, her pinnacles of gold. The harping chords of prelude closed. A chord, long drawn, expectant, drew a voice away. When first I saw that form endearing, Richie turned. Sighed Daedalus's voice, he said. Brain tip, cheek touched with flame. They listened, feeling that flow, endearing flow over skin, limbs, human heart, soul, spine. Bloom signed to Pat. Bald Pat is a waiter hard of hearing. To set ajar the door of the bar. The door of the bar. So, that will do. Pat, waiter, waited, waiting to hear, for he was hard of hear by the door. Sorrow from me seemed to depart. Through the hush of air a voice sang to them, low, not rain, not leaves in murmur, like no voice of strings or reeds or what do you call them, dulcimers, touching their still ears with words, still hearts of their each his remembered lives. Good, good to hear. Sorrow from them each seemed to from both depart when first they heard, when first they saw lost Richie Poldy, mercy of beauty, heard from a person wouldn't expect it in the least, her first merciful love-soft, oft-loved word. Love, that is, singing, love's old sweet song. Bloom unwound slowly the elastic band of his packet. Love's old sweet sonne la gold. Bloom wound a skein round 4 forked fingers, stretched it, relaxed, and wound it round his troubled double, 4-fold, in octave, gyved them fast. Full of hope and all delighted, tenors get women by the score, throw flower at his feet. When will we meet? My head, it simply jingle all delighted. He can't sing for tall hats. Your head, it simply swirls, perfumed for him. What perfume does your wife? I want to know. Jing, stop, knock. Last look at mirror always before she answers the door. The hall. There? How do you? I do well. There? What? Or? Phial of cachous, kissing comfits in her satchel. Yes? Hands felt for the opulent. Alas, the voice rose, sighing, charged, changed, loud, full, shining, proud. But alas, 'twas idle dreaming. Glorious tone he has still. Cork air softer also their brogue. Silly man, could have made oceans of money, singing wrong words, wore out his wife, now sings. But hard to tell, only the two themselves. If he doesn't break down, keep a trot for the avenue. His hands and feet sing too. Drink, nerves overstrung, must be abstemious to sing. Jenny Lind soup, stock, sage, raw eggs, half-pint of cream, for creamy dreamy. Tenderness it welled, slow, swelling, full it throbbed. That's the chat. Ha! Give! Take! Throb! A throb! A pulsing proud erect. Words? Music? No, it's what's behind. Bloom looped, unlooped, noted, disnoted. Bloom, flood of warm jam, lick it up, secretness flowed to flow in music out. In desire, dark to lick, flow invading. Tipping her, tepping her, tapping her, topping her. Tup, pours to dilate, dilating. Tup, the joy, the feel, the warm, the tup, to pour o'er sluices, pouring gushes. Flood, gush, flow, joy, gush, tup, throb. Now, language of love. Ray of hope is beaming. Lydia for Lidwell squeaked, scarcely hears so ladylike the muse unsqueaked a ray of hope. Martha it is. Coincidence. Just going to write. Lionel's song. Lovely name you have. Can't write. Except my little press. Play on her heartstrings, purse strings too. She's a... I called you naughty boy. Still the name. Martha. How strange. Today. The voice of Lionel returned, weaker but unwearied. It sang again to Richie Poldy, Lydia Lidwell, also sang to Pat, open mouth, ear waiting to hear. How first he saw that form endearing, how sorrow seemed to part, how look, form, word charmed him. Gould Lidwell won Pat Bloom's heart. Wish I could see his face, though. Explain better why the barber and Dragos always looked my face when I spoke his face in the glass. Still hear it better here than in the bar, though farther. Each graceful look. First night when first I saw her at Matt Dillon's in Terenure. Yellow, black lace she wore. Musical chairs. We two the last. Fate. After her. Fate. Round and round slow. Quick round. We two. All looked. Halt. Down she sat. All ousted looking. Lips laughing. Yellow knees. Charmed my eye. Singing. Waiting she sang. I turned her music. Full voice of perfume of what perfume does your lilac trees? Bosom I saw, full both, throat warbling. First I saw. She thanked me. Why did she me? Fate, Spanishy eyes. Under a pear tree alone patio this hour in old Madrid, one side in shadow, Dolores, she Dolores, at me, luring, ah, alluring. Martha, ah, Martha! Quitting all languor, Lionel cried in grief, in cry of passion dominant to love, to return with deepening yet with rising chords of harmony, in cry of Lionel loneliness that she should know, must Martha feel, for only her he waited. Where? Here, there, try there, here, all try where? Somewhere. Come, thou lost one, come, thou dear one, alone. One love, one hope, one comfort me, Martha chestnut, return. Come! It soared, a bird, it held its flight, a swift pure cry. Soar, silver orb, it leaped serene, speeding, sustained, to come. Don't spin it out too long, long breath, he breath, long life. Soaring high, high resplendent, aflame, crowned high in the effulgence symbolistic, high of the ethereal bosom, high of the high vast irradiation everywhere, all soaring, all around about thee, all the endlessness. To me, Siopold, consumed. Come, well sung, all clapped. She ought to come. To me, to him, to her, you too, me, us. Bravo! Clap, clap. Good man, Simon. Clappy, clap, clap. Encore, clap, clip, clap, clap. Sound as a bell. Bravo, Simon. Clap, clap, clap. Encore, and clap said. Cried, clapped all. Ben Dollard, Lydia Douce, George Lidwell, Pat, Mina Kennedy, 2 gentlemen with 2 tankards, Cowley, first gent with tank, and bronze Miss Douce, and gold Miss Mina. Blazes Boylan's smart tan shoes creaked on the bar floor, said before, jingled by monuments of Sir John Gray, Horatio one-handled Nelson, Reverend Father Theobald Matthew, jaunted, as said before just now, a trot in heat, heat-seated. Cloche, sonnez la. Cloche, sonnez la. Slower the mare went up the hill by the rotunda, Rutland Square. Too slow for Boylan. Blazes Boylan. Impatience Boylan joggled the mare. An afterclang of Cowley's chords closed, died on the air made richer. And Richie Goulding drank his power, and Leopold Bloom his cider drank, Lidwell his Guinness. Second gentleman, they said, would partake of 2 more tankards if she did not mind. Miss Kennedy smirked, disserving, coral lips at first, at second. She did not mind. 7 days in jail, Ben Dollard said, on bread and water. Then you'd sing, Simon, like a garden thrush. Lionel Simon, singer, laughed. Father Bob Cowley played. Mina Kennedy served. Second gentleman paid. Tom Kernan strutted in. Lydia admired. But Bloom sang dumb, admiring. Richie, admiring, descanted on that man's glorious voice. He remembered one night long ago. Never forget that night. Cy sang, "'Twas rank in fame," in Ned Lambert's 'twas. Good God, he never heard in all his life a note like that. He never did. Then false one, we had better part, so clear, so God. He never heard since. Love lives, not a clinking voice lives. Not ask Lambert, he can tell you too. Goulding, a flush struggling in his pale, told Mr. Bloom, face of the night. Cy in Ned Lambert's Dedalus house sang, "'Twas rank in fame." Hey, Mr. Bloom, listening while hey, Richie Goulding told him, Mr. Bloom, of the night he, Richie, heard him, Cy Dedalus, sing, "'Twas rank and fame," in his Ned Lambert's house. Brothers-in-law, relations, we never speak as we pass by. Rift in the lute, I think. Treats him with scorn. See, he admires him all the more. The right Cy sang. The human voice, 2 tiny silky chords, wonderful, more than all others. That voice was a lamentation. Calmer now. It's in the silence after you feel you hear. Vibrations. Now silent air. Bloom ungyved his crisscrossed hands and with slack fingers plucked the slender catgut thong. He drew and plucked. It buzzed, it twanged, while Goulding talked of Barraclough's voice production, while Tom Kernan, harking back in a retrospective sort of arrangement, talked to listening Father Cowley, who played a voluntary, who nodded as he played, while Big Ben Dollard talked with Simon Dedalus, lighting, who nodded as he smoked, who smoked. Thou Lost One, all songs on that theme. Yet more Bloom stretched his string. Cruel, it seems. Let people get fond of each other, lure them on, then tear asunder. Death, explose, knock on the head. Out to hell out of that. Human life, dignum. Ugh, that rat's tail wriggling. 5 bob I gave. Corpus paradisum. Corncrake croaker, belly like a poisoned pup. Gone. They sing, forgotten. I too, and one day she with. Leave her. Get tired. Suffer then. Snivel. Big Spanishy eyes goggling at nothing. Her wavy, heavy hair uncombed. Yet too much happy bores. He stretched more. Are you not happy in your twang? It snapped. Jingle into Dorset Street. Miss Douce withdrew her satiny arm, reproachful, pleased. Don't make half so free, said she, till we are better acquainted. George Lidwell told her really and truly, but she did not believe. First gentleman told Mina that was so. She asked him, was that so? And second tankard told her so, that was so. Miss Douce, Miss Lydia, did not believe. Miss Kennedy, Mina, did not believe. George Lidwell, no. Miss Douce did not. The first. Gent with the tank. Believe, no. Did not. Miss Ken. Lydia, well. The tank. Better write it here. Quills in the post office chewed and twisted. Bald Pat at a sign drew nigh. A pen and ink. He went. A pad. He went. A pad to blot. He heard, deaf Pat. Yes, Mr. Bloom said, teasing the curling catgut line. It certainly is. Few lines will do. My present. All that Italian florid music is. Who is this wrote? Know the name you know better. Take out sheet notepaper, envelope unconcerned. It's so characteristic. Grandest number in the whole opera, Goulding said. It is, Bloom said. Numbers it is. All music, when you come to think. 2 multiplied by 2 divided by half is twice 1. Vibrations, chords, those are. 1 plus 2 plus 6 is 7. Do anything you like with figures juggling. Always find out this equal to that. Symmetry under a cemetery wall. He doesn't see my mourning. Callous. All for his own gut. Mathematics. And you think you're listening to the ethereal. But suppose you said it like, Martha, 7 times 9 minus x is 35,000. Fall quite flat. It's on account of the sounds, it is. Instance he's playing now. Improvising. Might be what you like, till you hear the words. Want to listen sharp, hard. Begin all right, then hear chords a bit off. Feel lost a bit. In and out of sacks, over barrels, through wire fences, obstacle course. Time makes the tune. Question of mood you're in. Still always nice to hear. Except scales up and down, girls learning. 2 together next door neighbors. Ought to invent dummy pianos for that. Bloomin' lied. I bought for her. The name. Playing it slow. A girl, night I came home. The girl. Door of the stables near Cecilia Street. Millie no taste. Queer because we both, I mean. Bald deaf Pat brought quite flat pad ink. Pat set with ink pen quite flat pad. Pat took plate, dish, fork, knife. Pat went. It was the only language Mr. Dedalus said to Ben. He heard them as a boy in Ringabella, Crosshaven, Ringabella, singing their barcaroles. Queenstown harbor full of Italian ships. Walking, you know, Ben, in the moonlight with those earthquake hats. Blending their voices. God, such music, Ben. Heard as a boy. Cross Ringabella Haven moon carol. Sour pipe removed, he held a shield of hand beside his lips that cooed a moonlight night call, clear from a near, a call from afar, replying. Down the edge of his Freeman baton ranged blooms, your other eye, scanning for where did I see that? Callan, Coleman, Dignam Patrick, hey-ho, Fawcett, aha, just I was looking. Hope he's not looking, cute as a rat. He held unfurled his Freeman. Can't see now. Remember right Greek east. Bloom dipped, bloomer. Dear Sir, dear, Henry wrote, dear Matty, got your let and flow. Hell did I put, some pock or uth. It is utterly underline impasse, to write today. Bore this. Bored Bloom tambourined gently with I am just reflecting fingers on flat pad Pat brought. Oh, know what I mean? No, change that E, except my poor little press in close. Ask her no ants. Hold on. 5 dig. 2 about here. Penny the gulls. Elijah is come. 7 Davy Burns. Is 8 about? Say half a crown. My poor little press. P.O. 2 and 6. Write me a long. Do you despise? Jingle, have you the? So excited. Why do you call me naught? You naughty too? Oh, Mary lost the string of her. Bye for today. Yes, we'll tell you. Want to keep it up. Call me that other world, she wrote. My patience are exhaust. To keep it up, you must believe. The tank. It is true. Folly am I writing? Husbands don't. That's marriage does, their wives, because I'm away from. Suppose. But how? She must. Keep young. If she found out, card in my high grade, ha! No, not tell all. Useless pain. If they don't see, woman, sauce for the gander. A hackney car, number 324, driver Barton James of number 1 Harmony Avenue, Donnybrook, on which sat a fare, a young gentleman, stylishly dressed in an indigo blue serge suit made by George Robert Messias, tailor and cutter, of number 5 Eden Quay, and wearing a straw hat, very dressy, bought of John Plastow, of number 1 Great Brunswick Street, hatter. Eh? This is the jingle that joggled and jingled. By Glucas's pork shop, bright tubes of Agendath trotted a gallant buttocked mare. Answering an ad, Keen Ritchie's eyes asked Bloom. Yes, Mr. Bloom said. Town traveler. Nothing doing, I expect. Bloom, best references. But Henry wrote, it will excite me. You know how? In haste. Henry, Greek E. Better add postscript. What is he playing now? Improvising. Intermezzo. P.S. The rum-tum-tum. How will you pun? You punish me? Crooked skirt swinging. whack by. Tell me, I want to. No. Oh. Course if I didn't, I wouldn't ask. La 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 ree. Trails off there, sad in minor. Why minor sad? Signed H. They like sad tail at end. P.P.S. La 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 ree. I feel so sad today. La ree. So lonely. D. He blotted quick on pad of Pat. And bell, address, just copy out of paper. Murmured. Messrs. Cowan, Coleman and Company, Limited. Henry wrote, Miss Martha Clifford, care of P.O., Dolphin's Barn Lane, Dublin. Blot over the other so he can't read. There. Right. Idea prize tidbit. Something detective read off blotting pad. Payment at the rate of guinea per call. Matcham often thinks the laughing witch. Poor Mrs. Purfoy. U.P. Up. Too poetical about the sad. Music did that. Music hath charms. Shakespeare said, quotations every day in the year, to be or not to be, wisdom while you wait. In Gerard's Rosary of Fetcher Lane he walks, grade Audburn. One life is all, one body, do but do. Done anyhow. Postal order, stamp, post office lower down. Walk now, enough. Barney Kiernan's, I promised to meet them. Dislike that job. House of mourning, walk. Pat! Doesn't hear. Deaf beetle he is. Car near there, now. Talk. Pat! Doesn't. Settling those napkins. Lot of ground he must cover in the day. Paint face behind on him, then he'd be two. Wish they'd sing more. Keep my mind off. Bald Pat, who is bothered, mitered the napkins. Pat is a waiter hard of his hearing. Pat is a waiter who waits while you wait. He. He waits while you wait. He. A waiter is he. He. He waits while you wait. While you wait, if you wait, he will wait while you wait. He. Ho. Wait while you wait. Deuce now. Deuce Lydia. Bronze and rose. She had a gorgeous, simply gorgeous time. And look at the lovely shell she brought. To the end of the bar to him she bore lightly the spiked and winding sea-horn that he, George Lidwell, solicitor, might hear. Listen, she bade him. Under Tom Kernan's gin-hot words the accompanist wove music slow. Authentic fact. How Walter Bapty lost his voice? Well, sir, the husband took him by the throat. Scoundrel, said he, you'll sing no more love songs. He did, faith, Sir Tom, Bob Cowley wove. Tenors get whim, Cowley lay back. Ah, now he heard, she holding it to his ear. Here, he heard. Wonderful. She held it to her own, and through the sifted light pale gold in contrast gilded. To hear. Tap. Bloom through the bar door saw a shell held at their ears. He heard more faintly that they heard, each for herself alone, then each for the other, hearing the plash of waves. Loudly, a silent roar. Bronze by a weary gold, anear, afar, they listened. Her ear, too, is a shell, the peeping lobe there. Been to the seaside, lovely seaside girls, skin tanned raw. Should have put on cold cream first, make it brown. Buttered toast. Oh, and that lotion, mustn't forget. Fever near her mouth. Your head, it's simply hair braided over, shell with seaweed. Why do they hide their ears with seaweed hair? And Turks the mouth. Why? Her eyes over the sheet. Yashmak. Find the way in. A cave. No admittance except on business. The sea they think they hear, singing, a roar. The blood it is. Souse in the ear sometimes. Well, it's a sea. Corpuscle Islands. Wonderful, really. So distinct. Again, George Lidwell held its murmur, hearing, then laid it by, gently. What are the wild waves saying? He asked her, smiled. Charming, sea-smiling, and unanswering Lydia on Lidwell smiled. Tap. By Larry O'Rourke's, by Larry, bold Larry O, Boylan swayed and Boylan turned. From the forsaken shell Miss Mina glided to her tankards waiting. No, she was not so lonely, archly Miss Douce's head let Mr. Lidwell know. Walks in the moonlight by the sea. No, not alone. With whom? She nobly answered, with a gentleman friend. Bob Cowley's twinkling fingers in the treble played again. The landlord has the prior, a little time. Long John, Big Ben, lightly he played a light, bright, tinkling measure for tripping ladies, arch and smiling, and for their gallants, gentlemen friends. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. Sea, wind, leaves, thunder, waters, cows lowing, the cattle market, cocks, hens don't crow, snakes hiss. There's music everywhere. Rutledge's door, creaking. No, that's noise. Minuet of Don Giovanni he's playing now. Court dresses of all descriptions in castle chambers dancing. Misery. Peasants outside. Green, starving faces eating dock leaves. Nice, that is. Look, 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 look. You look at us. That's joyful, I can feel. Never have written it. Why? My joy is other joy, but both are joys. Yes, joy it must be. Mere fact of music shows you are. Often thought she was in the dumps till she began to lilt. Then, no. McCoy, Felice, my wife and your wife. Squealing cat, like tearing silk. Tongue, when she talks, like the clapper of a bellows. They can't manage men's intervals. Gap in their voices, too. Fill me. I'm warm, dark, open. Molly in Quis est homo. Mercadante. My ear against the wall to hear. Want a woman who can deliver the goods. Jog, jig, jogged, stopped. Dandy tan shoe of dandy Boylan socks, sky blue clocks came light to earth. Oh, look, we are so! Chamber music could make a kind of pun on that. It is a kind of music I often thought when she... Acoustics, that is. Tinkling. Empty vessels make most noise, because the acoustics, the resonance changes according as the weight of the water is equal to the law of falling water, like those rhapsodies of Liszt's, Hungarian, gypsied, pearls, drops, rain, diddly daddly, addly addle, oodly oodle, hiss. Now, maybe now, before. One rapped on a door, one tapped with a knock. Did he knock Paul de Kock with a loud, proud knocker with a cock? Cara, 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 cock, cock, cock. Tap. Qui scadenio, Ben, said Father Cowley. No, Ben, Tom Kernan interfered. The croppy boy, our native Doric. I do, Ben, Mr. Dedalus said. Good men and true. Do, they begged in one. I'll go. Here, Pat, return. Come. He came, he did not stay. To me. How much? What key? 6 sharps? F sharp major, Ben Dollard said. Bob Cowley's outstretched talons griped the black, deep-sounding chords. Must go, Prince Bloom told Richie Prince. No, Richie said. Yes, must. Got money somewhere. He's on for a razzle backache spree. Much? He see here's lip speech. 1 in 9. Penny for yourself. Here, give him 2pence tip. Deaf, bothered. But perhaps he has wife and family waiting. Waiting Patty come home, he. Deaf wait while they wait. But here, chords dark, lugubrious, low, in a cave of the dark middle earth, embedded ore, lump music. The voice of dark age, of unlove, earth's fatigue made, grave approach and painful, come from afar, from hoary mountains, called on good men and true. The priest he sought, with him would he speak a word. Tap. Ben Dollard's voice, bass barrel tone, doing his level best to say it. Croak of vast, manless, moonless, wamoonless marsh. Other come down. Big ship's chandler's business he did once. Remember, rosiny ropes, ship's lanterns. Failed to the tune of 10,000 pounds. Now in the Ivea home. Cubicle number so-and-so. Number 1 bass did that for him. The priest's at home. A false priest's servant bade him welcome. Step in, the Holy Father, with bows a traitor servant. Curlicues of chords. Ruin them, wreck their lives, then build them cubicles to end their days in. Hush-a-bye, lullaby, die, dog, little dog, die. The voice of warning, solemn warning, told them the youth had entered a lonely hall, told them how solemn fell his footsteps there, told them the gloomy chamber, the vested priest sitting to shrive. Decent soul, bit addled now, thinks he'll win in answers, poet's picture puzzle. We hand you crisp £5 note. Bird sitting hatching in a nest. Lay of the last minstrel he thought it was. C blank T, what domestic animal? T-R, most courageous mariner. Good voice he has still. No eunuch yet with all his belongings. Listen. Bloom listened. Richie Goulding listened. And by the door deaf Pat, bald Pat, tipped Pat listened. The chords harped slower. The voice of penance and of grief came slow, embellished, tremulous. Ben's contrite beard confessed. In nomine Domini, in God's name he knelt. He beat his hand upon his breast, confessing, mea culpa. Latin, again. That holds them like bird-lime. Priest with the communion corpus for those women. Chap in the mortuary. Coffin or coffee. Corpus nomine. Wonder where that rat is by now. Scrape. Tap. They listened. Tankards and Miss Kennedy. George Lidwell, eyelid well expressive. Full-busted satin. Kernan. Sigh. The sighing voice of sorrow sang his sins. Since Easter he had cursed 3 times, you bitch's bast. And once at mass time he had gone to play. Once by the churchyard he had passed, and for his mother's rest he had not prayed. A boy, a croppy boy. Bronze, listening, by the beer pole gazed far away, soulfully. Doesn't half know I'm Molly great dab at seeing anyone looking. Bronze gazed far sideways. Mirror there. Is that best side of her face? They always know. Knock at the door. Last tip to titivate. Cock, cara, cara. What do they think when they hear music? Way to catch rattlesnakes. Knight Michael Gunn gave us The Box. Tuning up. Shah of Persia liked that best. Remind him of Home Sweet Home. Wiped his nose in curtain, too. Custom his country, perhaps? That's music, too. Not as bad as it sounds. Tootling. Brasses braying asses through up trunks. Double basses helpless, gashes in their sides. Woodwinds mooing cows. Semi-grand open crocodile music hath jaws. Woodwind like Goodwin's name. She looked fine. Her crocus dress she wore, low cut, belongings on show. Clove, her breath was always in theater when she bent to ask a question. Told her what Spinoza says in that book of poor papas. Hypnotized, listening, eyes like that. She bent. Chap in dress circle staring down into her with his opera glass for all he was worth. Beauty of music you must hear twice. Nature woman, half a look. God made the countryman the tune. Met him pike hoses. Philosophy, oh, rocks. All gone. All fallen. At the siege of Ross, his father, at Gorey all his brothers fell. To Wexford, we're the boys of Wexford, he would, last of his name and race. I too, last of my race. Milly young student, well, my fault perhaps, no son, Rudy, too late now, or if still, he bore no hate, love, those are names, Rudy, soon I am old. Big Ben, his voice unfolded. Great voice, Richie Goulding said, a flush struggling in his pale, to bloom soon old. But when was young? Ireland comes now, my country above the king. She listens. Who fears to speak of 1904? Time to be shoving. Looked enough. Bless me, father. Dollard the croppy cried. Bless me and let me go. Tap. Bloom looked, unblessed to go. Got up to kill on 18 bob a week. Fellows shell out the dibs. Want to keep your weather eye open. Those girls, those lovely, by the sad sea waves, chorus girls' romance, letters read out for breach of promise, from Chickabiddy's own Mumpsy Mum Pum, laughter in court, Henry, I never signed it, the lovely name you. Low sank the music, air and words, then hastened, the false priest rustling soldier from his cassock, a yeoman captain. They know it all by heart. The thrill they itch for. Yeoman cap. Tap, tap. Thrilled she listened, bending in sympathy to hear. Blank face. Virgin should say, or fingered only. Write something on it. Page. If not, what becomes of them? Decline, despair, keeps them young. Even admire themselves. See? Play on her. Lip blow. Body of white woman, a flute alive. Blow gentle, loud, 3 holes, all women. Goddess I didn't see. They want it. Not too much polite. That's why he gets them. Gold in your pocket, brass in your face. Say something. Make her hear. With look to look. Songs without words. Molly, that hurdy-gurdy boy. She knew he meant the monkey was sick. Or because so like the Spanish. Understand animals, too, that way. Solomon did. Gift of nature. Ventriloquize. My lips closed. Think in my stomach. What? Will you? I want you to. With hoarse, rude fury the yeoman cursed. swelling an apoplectic bitch's bastard. A good thought, boy, to come. 1 hour's your time to live, your last. Tap, tap. Thrill now, pity they feel, to wipe away a tear for martyrs that want to, dying to, die. For all things dying, for all things born. Poor Mrs. Purefoy. Hope she's over, because they're wombs. A liquid of womb of woman eyeball gazed under a fence of lashes, calmly hearing. See real beauty of the eye when she not speaks. On yonder river, at each slow, satiny, heaving bosom's wave, her heaving embon, red rose, rose, slowly sank, red rose. Heartbeats, her breath, breath that is life, and all the tiny, tiny fern foils trembled of maiden hair. But look, the bright stars fade. Oh, Rose, Castile, the morn, ha, Lidwell, for him then, not for infatuated. I like that? See her from here, though. Popped corks, splashes of beer froth, stacks of empties. On the smooth jutting beer pool laid Lydia hand. Lightly, plumply, leave it to my hands. All lost in pity for Croppy. Fro to fro, over the polished knob. She knows his eyes, my eyes, her eyes. Her thumb and finger passed in pity. Passed, reposed, and gently touching, then slid so smoothly, slowly down, a cool, firm, white enamel baton protruding through their sliding ring. With a cock, with a cara, tap, tap, tap. I hold this house. Amen. He gnashed in fury. Traitors swing. The chords consented. Very sad thing, but had to be. Get out before the end. Thanks, that was heavenly. Where's my hat? Pass by her. Can leave that Freeman. Let her I have. Suppose she were the... No. Walk, walk, walk. Like Cashel, Boileau, Conero, Coilo, Tisdall, Maurice, Tinsdall, Farrell. Walk! Well, I must be. Are you off? Yimps by Bloomstep, Orihai, Blue, Ow. Bloom stood up. Soap feeling rather sticky behind. Must have sweated. Music. That lotion, remember? Well, so long. High grade. Card inside. Yes. By deaf Pat in the doorway, straining ear, Bloom passed. At Geneva Barrack that young man died. At Passage was his body laid. Dolor, oh he Dolores. The voice of the mournful chanter called to dolorous prayer. By Rose, by satiny bosom, by the fondling hand, by slops, by empties, by popped corks, greeting and going past eyes and maiden hair, bronze and faint gold in deep sea shadow, went Bloom, soft Bloom. I feel so lonely, Bloom. Tap, tap, tap. Pray for him, prayed the bass of Dollard. You who hear in peace, breathe a prayer, drop a tear, good men, good people. He was the Croppy boy. Scaring eavesdropping boots, Croppy boots boy Bloom in the Ormond hallway heard the growls and roars of bravo, fat backslapping, their boots all treading, boots not the boots the boy. General chorus off for a swill to wash it down, glad I avoided. Come on, Ben, Simon Dedalus cried. By God, you're as good as ever you were. Better, said Tomgan Kiernan. Most trenchant rendition of that ballad, upon my soul and honour 'tis. La Blache, said Father Cowley. Ben Gollard bulkily, cachuched towards the bar, mightily praise-fed and all big roseate on heavy-footed feet, his gouty fingers knackering castagnettes in the air. Big Ben-a-Ben Dollard, Big Ben-Ben, Big Ben-Ben, brrr, and deep moved all, Simon trumping compassion from foghorn nose. All laughing, they brought him forth, Ben Dollard, in right good cheer. "You're looking rubicund," George Lidwell said. Miss Douce composed her rose to wait. "Ben, ma tree," said Mr. Dedalus, clapping Ben's fat back shoulder-blade. "Fit as a fiddle, only he has a lot of adipose tissue concealed about his person." "Fat of death, Simon," Ben Dollard growled. Ritchie, riffed in the lute, alone sat. Goulding, Collis, Ward. Uncertainly he waited. Unpaid pat, too. Tap, 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 tap. Miss Mina Kennedy brought near her lips to ear of tankard 1. "Mr. Dollard," they murmured low. "Dollard," murmured Tankard. Tank 1 believed. Miss Ken when she, that doll he was, she-doll, the tank. He murmured that he knew the name. The name was familiar to him, that was to say, he had heard the name of Dollard, was it? Dollard, yes. Yes, her lips said more loudly, Mr. Dollard. He sang that song lovely, murmured Mina. Mr. Dollard. And the last rose of summer was a lovely song. Mina loved that song. Tankard loved the song that Mina. 'Tis the last rose of summer Dollard left bloom, felt wind wound round inside. Gassy thing, that cider. Binding, too. Wait. Post office near Reuben J's 1 and 8 too. Get shut of it. Dodge round by Greek Street. Wish I hadn't promised to meet. Freer in air. Music. Gets on your nerves. Beer pull. Her hand that rocks the cradle rules the Ben Houth, that rules the world. Far, 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 far. Tap, 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 tap. Up the key went Lionel Leopold. Naughty Henry with letter for Mady, with sweets of sin, with frillies for Raoul, with met him pike hoses went Poldy on. Tap, blind, walked tapping by the tap, the curbstone tapping tap by tap. Cowley, he stuns himself with it. Kind of drunkenness. Better give way only halfway the way of a man with a maid. Instance enthusiasts. All ears. Not lose a semiquaver. Eyes shut. Head nodding in time. Dotty, you daren't budge. Thinking strictly prohibited. Always talking shop. Fiddle-faddle about notes. All a kind of attempt to talk. Unpleasant when it stops because you never know exact. Organ in Gardner Street. Old Glynn, 50 quid a year. Queer up there in the cockloft, alone with stops and locks and keys. Seated all day at the organ. Mounder on for hours, talking to himself or the other fellow blowing the bellows. Growl angry, then shriek cursing. Want to have wadding or something in his. No, don't, she cried. Then all of a soft sudden, wee little pipey wind. Pwee! A wee little wind piped ee in Bloom's little wee. Was he? Mr. Dedalus said, returning with fetched pipe. I was with him this morning at poor little Paddy Dignam's. Aye, the Lord have mercy on him. By the by, there's a tuning fork in there on the tap, 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 tap. The wife has a fine voice, or had. What? Lidwell asked. Oh, that must be the tuner, Lydia said to Simon Lionel. First I saw. Forgot it when he was here. Blind, he was she told George Lidwell second I saw. And played so exquisitely. Treat to hear. Exquisite contrast. Bronze lid, Mina gold. Shout, Ben Dollard shouted, pouring. Sing out! Ildo, cried Father Cowley. I feel I want. Tap, 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 tap. Very, Mr. Dedalus said, staring hard at a headless sardine. Under the sandwich bell lay on a bier of bread one lonely, last sardine of summer. Bloom, alone. Very, he stared. The lower register for choice. Tap, 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 tap. Bloom went by berries. Wish I could. Wait. That wonder worker if I had. 24 solicitors in that one house. Counted them. Litigation. Love one another. Piles of parchment. Messrs. Pick and Pocket have power of attorney. Goulding, Collis, Ward. But, for example, the chap that wallops the big drum. His vocation. Mickey Rooney's band. Wonder how it first struck him. Sitting at home after pig's cheek and cabbage, nursing it in the armchair, rehearsing his band part. Pom, Pompedy, jolly for the wife, asses' skins, welt them through life, then wallop after death. Pom, wallop, seems to be what you call yashmak, or kismet, fate. Tap, tap, a stripling, blind, with a tapping cane, came tap, tap, tapping by Daly's window where a mermaid hair all streaming, but he couldn't see, blew whiffs of a mermaid. Blind couldn't. Mermaid, coolest whiff of all. Instruments, a blade of grass, shell of her hands, then blow. Even comb and tissue paper you can knock a tune out of. Molly in her shift in Lombard Street West, hair down. I suppose each kind of trade made its own, don't you see? Hunter with a horn, haw, have you the cloche, sonnez-la. Shepherd his pipe, pwee, little wee. Policeman a whistle, locks and keys, sweep. 4 o'clock, all's well, sleep. All is lost now. Drum, Pompedy. Wait, I know. Town crier, bum bailiff, Long John. Waken the dead, Pom, dignum. Poor little nominy domini, Pom. It is music. Of course it's all pom, pom, pom. Very much what they call da capo. Still you can hear. As we march along, pom. I must really, Now if I did that at a banquet, just a question of custom, Shah of Persia, breathe a prayer, drop a tear. All the same, he must have been a bit of the natural not to see it was a yeoman cap, muffled up. Wonder who was that chap at the grave in the brown masson? Oh, the whore of the lane. A frowsy whore with black straw sailor hat askew came glazily in the day along the quay towards Mr. Bloom. When first he saw that form endearing, yes, it is. I feel so lonely. Wet night in the lane. Horn. Who had the hee-haw she saw off her beat here? What is she? Hope she. Psst! Any chance of your wash? New Molly had me decked. Stout lady does. Be with you in the brown costume. Put you off your stroke, that. Appointment we made, knowing we'd never, well, hardly ever. Too dear, too near to home sweet home. Sees me, does she? Looks a fright in the day. Face like dip. Damn her. Oh, well, she has to live like the rest. Look in here. In Lionel Mark's antique sale shop window, haughty Henry Lionel Leopold, dear Henry flowered, earnestly Mr. Leopold Bloom envisaged battered candlesticks, melodeon oozing maggoty blow bags. Bargain. 6 bob. Might learn to play. Cheap. Let her pass. Course everything is dear if you don't want it. That's what good salesman is. Make you buy what he wants to sell. Chap sold me the Swedish razor he shaved me with. Wanted to charge me for the edge he gave it. She's passing now. 6 bob. Must be the cider, or perhaps the Burgund. Near bronze from anear, near gold from afar, they chinked their clinking glasses all, bright-eyed and gallant, before bronze Lydia's tempting last rose of summer, rose of Castile. First lid, day, cow, cur, doll, a 5th. Lidwell, Cy Dedalus, Bob Cowley, Kernan, and Big Ben Dollard. Tap. A youth entered a lonely Ormond hall. Bloom viewed a gallant, pictured hero in Lionel Mark's window. Robert Emmet's last words. 7 last words. Of Meyer beer, that is. True men like you men. Aye, aye, Ben. Will lift your glass with us. They lifted. Ta-chink, cha-chunk. Tip, an unseeing stripling, stood in the door. He saw not bronze. He saw not gold. Nor Ben, nor Bob, nor Tom, nor Cy, nor George, nor Tanks, nor Richie, nor Pat. He. He did not see. Sea Bloom, Grisa Bloom viewed last words. Softly, when my country takes her place among. Purr. Must be the burr. Ooh, brr. Nations of the earth. No one behind. She's past. Then, and not till then, tram, cran. Good opera. Coming, crandle, cran. I'm sure it's the Burgund. Yes. 1, 2, let my epitaph be written. I have done.